Battle of Bunker Hill, June 16 and 17, 1775. After the first shots of the American Revolution were fired at Lexington and Concord in April 1775, colonial militias quickly surrounded Boston, where British troops were stationed. Determined to prevent further uprisings, the British hoped to crush the rebellion in Massachusetts, but they soon discovered that the colonists were not easily intimidated. In June 1775, Patriot commanders ordered their men to fortify Breed's Hill, which overlooked Boston Harbor. From this position, the colonists could threaten British troops and ships in the harbor. General William Howe, determined to remove the Patriots, launched a direct assault.
The colonists, low on ammunition, were instructed by one commander, "Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes."
The British advanced repeatedly, suffering heavy casualties. Finally, after the Patriots exhausted their ammunition and resorted to throwing rocks, they were forced to retreat. Although the British technically held the field, the Battle of Bunker Hill, fought mostly on Breed's Hill, proved that the colonists could stand up to one of the strongest armies in the world. The British suffered nearly 1,000 casualties, far more than the Americans. For the colonists, it was a powerful boost of morale and a sign that independence was possible. Fighting moves to New York, summer and fall, 1776. The next year, the Patriots gained a major victory when cannons captured at Fort Ticonderoga were dragged to Boston and positioned on the high ground. On March 17, 1776, the British were forced to evacuate Boston, ending an 8-year occupation of the city. This success convinced the British to shift their strategy. Believing New York was a better base because of its harbor, large Loyalist population, and central location, General Howe assembled the largest British force of the war. In July 1776, more than 32,000 troops and a massive fleet arrived in New York Harbor. Washington, knowing his army was outnumbered and poorly supplied, tried to use the terrain to his advantage. Still, the British launched a series of attacks in the summer and fall, overwhelming the Continental Army. Washington narrowly avoided disaster by retreating across New Jersey. In September 1776, the British captured New York City, which remained under their control for the rest of the war. The city became the British military headquarters and allowed them to cut off important colonial supply routes. Early victories: Washington crosses the Delaware, December 25, 26, 1776. Despite heavy losses, Washington looked for a bold move to restore hope. On the freezing night of December 25, 26, 1776, he led about 2,400 soldiers across the icy Delaware River in a snowstorm. The march was dangerous. Winds howled, ice jammed the river, and many soldiers lacked shoes. By dawn, the Patriots reached Trenton, New Jersey, where the Hessian mercenaries were still recovering from Christmas celebrations. Washington's army launched a surprise attack, capturing about 1,000 prisoners, along with weapons and supplies. Though small in scale, the Battle of Trenton was a turning point in morale. For the first time in months, Washington's soldiers tasted victory. It inspired confidence in the Continental Army and showed that even after crushing defeats, the revolution was far from over.